What up, YouTube? This is your president, the presidential tourist, back with another video. I'm here in Haines City, Florida at Forest Hill Cemetery. I'm here to show you the grave of local Major League Baseball player legend Tommy Leach, who played in the first World Series of 1903. Alright, we're going to get over and get to it. He is in a mausoleum right there in the middle of the cemetery. But before we get to there and I show you his grave, I want to tell you more about him and about his life and his really interesting career in baseball, starting now. Thomas Andrew Leach was born on November 4th, 1877, and died September 29th, 1969. His place of birth was in French Creek, New York, and his death site is in Haines City, Florida. He was an outfielder and third baseman. He played from September 28, 1898 to September 2nd, 1918. He played for 4 teams: the Louisville Colonials, the Pittsburgh Pirates, the Chicago Cubs, and the Cincinnati Reds. In 1902, he led the National League with 6 home runs. He was in the first World Series of 1903. His nickname back in the day was Wee Tommy because he was a smaller guy. He hit 63 home runs in his career. 49 was inside the park, which is still a National League record. He was with the Pirates when they won the National League pennant 4 times. He had 361 stolen bases, 1,355 runs scored, and 172 triples. In 1902, he was the National League run leader. There's a famous photo, which you'll see in my video, of him taken with Fred Clark and Honus Wagner. In 1960, he appeared on I've Got a Secret, along with Freddie Parent. That was a interesting, I don't know how you would describe it, like a game show type thing back in the 60s, which is on YouTube. You can actually watch it, and I'll see about putting the link below in my video. I think you'll find it very interesting. He was also one of the ball players who were interviewed for a famous baseball book called The Glory of Their Times. You can still get that book, plus you can get part of that interview on YouTube, from what I understand. But he definitely had a very interesting career. He was in the first World Series ever. And there's a ton of information out there. There's a Wikipedia page, there's news articles, there's just interviews. So I definitely suggest you check it out. And there's a couple of really cool photos that I'm also going to have up here on here. One is of the 1903 World Series Boston and Pittsburgh team. You'll see both of them together. And then there's another photo of the Huntington Avenue baseball grounds, which is where part of the World Series from 1903 was played. And then you'll see a picture of Exhibition Park in Pittsburgh, and where part of the World Series in 1903 was played as well. So definitely a lot of great information about him and the first World Series. I suggest you check it out. All right, now on to his part of where I show you his grave. All right, here is the mausoleum section where Mr. Leach is buried. He's either over there or over there. I'll show you this whole section, and you're actually going to see this part of this video twice. This is going to be in its own, just on about him, and then it's going to be in the cemetery video. Here's a little marker here, dedicated to members of the Florida National Guard. Forest Hill Cemetery, Haines City, Florida. And these oaks commemorate the original 13 states in the bicentennial year. Green Thumb Garden Club. Well, I don't know if it means those trees over there or others. Could be those. But I wonder if those trees that they're talking about is not even here anymore. Let's go and see. Here's a little information. Like I said, he's going to either be, because I actually Google, you know, when you go on the street view on Google, they actually drove through here, and you can actually see his grave. And Google Street View. Okay, so it's gonna be on the other side. First, before we go over there, speaking here, as I saw this. This is Cook's. Cook is the name. I mean, I think, does this open? Yeah, this opens. Well, I don't see any. I don't see anyone that's been buried in here. But maybe that's for. I see. Actually, no, they're all out here. Okay. So maybe this is supposed to be like a little. So I doubt they'd be able to put anyone in here because the bodies are right there. So maybe this is like a little place for you to. Like a little chapel might be considered? I don't know. You tell me what you think. So normally they would have someone in there and I don't see them. I don't think they could. I bet you this whole section's for them. That's why it says Cook right there. But anyways, I don't want to be too much on that. Let's go over there on the other side and see where Mr. Leach is buried. I'll walk around this a little bit more. It might not be in the video with that I'm doing on Mr. Leach. It might be in the one where I do like the whole tour of the cemetery. Okay, here he is. Now this has been changed. See, ooh, that's loose too. Better not touch that. But that's been changed. I saw a photo I was taken several years ago of whatever, I guess you could say technically this is his headstone, and it was like a grayish white, and I think the words were black. So they redid all these for some reason. Maybe they were just deteriorating for some reason, I don't know. And then this is, I believe it's his wife. There's actually a really cool video, and I'll put the link below. I forget the name of the show, where he got basically asked questions from these contestants what he's famous for until they figure out what he's famous for. He was on there with another ball player. Very interesting. You actually get to hear him speak. That was filmed in 1960. And then, of course, he ended up passing in 1969. But you'll know much more about him from the section you already seen before you got to this. And I'm going to be talking about that, which I guess you could say game show. I'll be talking about that a little bit in that. I actually haven't filmed that part yet, so I'm not exactly sure what I'm going to say. I have pretty much known what I'm going to say, but there may be a few other things I'm going to include. But here is his final resting place. If you want to come and show your respects, if you just like to learn more, if you live in this area, more about the historical people that's buried around here. Now, he's not from Haines City. He's from, I think it was called French Creek, New York. Then they ended up settling down here, ended up becoming a businessman. But you'll all know all about that from that. Very interesting life, very interesting career. I think he was in the first World Series of 1903. He was one of the last players from that World Series to pass away. He might have been the last, or there might have been one more other than him. So he saw a lot, and he lived a really long time. Born in 1877, passed in 1969. And then his wife only lived about 2 more years after him. He would have been really cool, I think, to talk to. So he interacted with some of the earlier ball players, the very first Hall of Famers. So he must have had some really interesting stories. I have to see if there's any more interviews with him. I bet there is, and it would be really cool to learn more about his insight into early baseball, because baseball then was very different from baseball now. The way the ball was made, the size of the field, you know, everything. Just a lot of it, so much has changed. But yeah, it's in, and this is almost the very middle of the cemetery. Well, not quite. It goes a bit more farther down there, I believe, but it's close, and it's right next to Haines City High School. So I'm glad he was in something like this and not regular grave, because that would have been much harder to find. Would have been a lot of walking around. But if you want to, like I said, you want to come and show your respects, this is where he is. Look for crypt number 53, and then his wife is buried at number 54. Yeah, but there he is. But if you have any more comments or questions about him, let me know. I'm actually a Cleveland Indians fan, which I'm sure he would have found kind of sacrilegious. But that's just how it is. But here it is. I'm glad I finally got here. Been meaning to want to film this video forever, and this took me a while to get here. But I'm glad I did. But yeah, like I said, any comments or questions, I'll try to answer. Like I said, I'll put the link below for that game show that he was on. And some other links about his information, about his life. There, he also has a Wikipedia page, and yeah, all right, that's it. Thanks for watching. Bye, everybody. Bye. All right, you know what that means. It's time to get on to the next video. All right, see you. Bye.